So, we need to talk about this because the Vancouver Canucks did make themselves a roster move today that I think plays nicely into a bigger conversation on the team. About 2 hours ago, General Manager Patrik Allvin announced that goaltender Arturs Silovs has been assigned to the Abbotsford Canucks. And with that in mind, it means the Vancouver Canucks have 2 goalies on the team that are good to go, ready to play, and that can act as the starter and the backup. It's Thatcher Demko and it's Kevin Lankinen. Both of these guys are here. But the interesting thing is, on this tweet of the Vancouver Canucks sending Silovs down to Abbotsford, the number one reply from Canucks Maniac is, "Send Lankinen down, to be honest." And the TBH at the end indicates to me that this is kind of a joke. It's like half-heartedly, yeah, honestly, they should probably be sending Lankinen down. But I don't think this user is going out there and saying, oh yeah, I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts they should do it. It's just saying, hey, the team has been playing a certain way lately, and with this roster move of sending a goalie down, you can question whether or not the quality of some of the other goaltenders has been up to par. Here's a tweet from Dan Riccio after the game yesterday. Kevin Lankinen has a .880 save percentage since signing his long-term extension with the Canucks. And that doesn't say anything, it's just a tweet. I'm gonna go out there and say it's just a tweet with some numbers. It doesn't say that he's been good or bad, it just says, hey, here's his save percentage, so very smart on Dan Riccio's part there. But even some of the replies on this tweet. I see you found a new scapegoat. Connor Garland was on for 4 goals against but still got plenty of OT time. And Hughes and Hronek have been awful together, yet they still played together all game. Looks like the Fat Goblin has found a new scapegoat. Okay, I didn't realize that Dan Riccio's called that. But Kevin Lankinen has not been good lately. And if you head over to yesterday's The Statsies on CanucksArmy.com, published by Michael Liu, this was from yesterday after the game. The Statsies, I think it's a spirited successor to the Pravies, to the Athletes, to the Canuckies? I don't know, but Michael Liu goes out there and writes this in terms of Kevin Lankinen's own regression. Vancouver scored plenty against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The run support shouldn't be questioned, even if the stats weren't the kindest to the Canucks. What should be questioned for Vancouver was Lankinen between the pipes, who faced down 3.35 expected goals and gave up a negative 2.65 goals saved above expected. Now, the Blue Jackets had plenty of high-danger chances, sure, but only 3 of the 6 goals against were from high-danger chances. 1 goal was from a middle-danger shot, and 2 were from low danger. Lankinen wasn't up to par last night, which has been reflected in the goals saved above expected. And fine, the team defense in front of him could have been better, but at the same time, you've got to do better when your own team scores 6 to try and outscore their issues. So, Kevin Lankinen, that's a pretty big number, negative 2.65 goals saved above expected. What that means is, essentially, the quality of the shots and the chances that Columbus had yesterday indicates about a 3.35 expected goals for. They had chances that were worthy of 3.35 expected goals, but the fact that Kevin Lankinen let in 6 means that he saved negative 0.65 above expected. So he had a negative number, it was a bad performance, and of course, if you just take a look at the goals and the shot totals, Kevin Lankinen allowed 6 goals on 38 shots against for an .842 save percentage. Add to this the .636 save percentage game he had against the New York Rangers, where he let in 4 goals on 11 shots, and the Canucks lost 5-3. And then the 8-6-2 game against the St. Louis Blues, he let in 4 goals on 29 shots there. It's been 3 straight L's for Kevin Lankinen in a season where he has been good. We would say that Kevin Lankinen, alongside a Quinn Hughes, they're one of the only 2 really bright spots that the Vancouver Canucks had in the first half of the season. Pettersson and Miller were beefing, and the defense sucked. Susie Myers was terrible, and the depth scoring was nowhere to be found. The only bright spots for this team to open up the year were Lankinen and Hughes. And Lankinen, of course, got off to such a good start because he outdueled Arturs Silovs for the starter position. Thatcher Demko was not healthy, so Lankinen was forced to be great. And then the Vancouver Canucks signed Lankinen because they needed to get security there. They didn't want to let him go to free agency and have to spend significant money on a backup because they know that Thatcher Demko is going to be vulnerable. So now they're like, okay, we're just going to give this money to Lankinen. We're going to lock him down till the end of 2030 at a pretty grand $4.5 million a year. That's a 5-year contract extension, folks. Pretty much in the tweener starter-ish dollar amount territory. Regular starters can maybe get up to $5 and $6 million. If you're a top tier elite starter, you're maybe getting 8.5, and if you're a franchise defining guy, you're maybe getting 10. But Lankinen getting 4.5, huge increase over the 800,000 that he had gotten. It's just now he's playing some of the worst hockey he has had all year. And you gotta question, is this just a matter of illness? Is this the flu going around the Vancouver Canucks organization like we had been seeing? Is this straight up just fatigue? Is it him playing a lot? Is it him being in a spot where he's been overworked? Because we have seen Lankinen play extraordinarily well as far back as just 2 weeks ago. He was playing awesome. He played well against Winnipeg. He had a really stellar game against the Minnesota Wild. Maybe the Canucks should only play Kevin Lankinen against Central teams. Maybe that's the way to get him going. But ultimately, Kevin Lankinen, a guy who has been so consistent for the first half of the year, has started to falter off in a big way that I think it's a very realistic idea to bring up for Canucks fans right now as to whether or not this high level of play out of Lankinen that we had seen is sustainable for the rest of the year. I saw an article on CanucksDaily.com. It said, the Canucks are now regretting the signing of Kevin Lankinen, and I don't know if I want to use that word just yet. Regret? Is that really how bad it has been for Vancouver and Kevin Lankinen? But I will say, it's been pretty bad, and this is a negative update that we do have to have about Vancouver goaltending and about Kevin Lankinen. At the very least, Thatcher Demko has been amazing. It's been great seeing Thatcher Demko actually play 2 games and win 2 games and look as solid, if not even better, than we have expected him to look. Obviously, he was nominated for the Vezina last year, so he has that upper ceiling. For Kevin Lankinen, though, he wasn't nominated for the Vezina last year. He was a backup behind UC Saros. He has been a backup for most of his career up until this season, where he finally got a bigger workload because there was no choice. It was either him or Arturs Silovs for a good chunk of the year. And Lankinen took that opportunity, ran with it, proved that he deserved to be in that spotlight, got the money, and now he's performing poorly. So you have to wonder, where does this lie? Is this more of just fatigue coming to play? And will Kevin Lankinen find a way to battle past these woes for next season? Assuming he is the backup and Thatcher Demko is the starter, next season, if you want to get an even split, 41-41, I think that's a realistic expectation if you want to assume both the guys stay healthy the whole year. Kevin Lankinen already played 47 games this season, which is the most he's ever played in the NHL, and he's started to dip a little bit in save percentage. Now he's down there at an .899 on the year after being so strong for the first half of the year. So with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you feel about this unfortunate update with Kevin Lankinen and the fact that his save percentage has taken a deep dive after the contract extension that he had signed? What do you think about this? Do you think it's worrisome? Do you think the Canucks regret it, like some articles would have you believe? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.